Good morning, it's Claire Jones here from Your One Life Healthy Weight Solutions. It's just gone 9 o'clock on Monday the 9th of January and I'm here for the very first episode of Monday Morning Matters for 2023, which is actually episode 29. Now if you are watching live or on replay, do let me know that you're here so that I know that you've watched it, and also what that does is it helps others to know that I've gone live. So if you do say so in the comments, it just helps that Facebook algorithm to start spreading the word, and then it pops up on people's news feeds in case they forgot. And so if they were planning to come and watch, then they're not going to forget. So that would be lovely if you could do that. Would be most grateful. So I hope you all had a lovely Christmas and Happy New Year, because although for me it seems like the 1st of January was ages ago, it was actually only 9 days ago. And this is the first time that I've come back into the group to do these sessions. So Happy New Year, everybody. And I've got lots of things planned for this year in terms of how I can support you with managing your weight. And one of the things that I've decided to do is to, rather than just sort of just talk about anything that's topical in these sessions, I decided that it may be more helpful to sort of take you on a little bit of a journey each month. So every month we're going to have a theme for the Monday Morning Matters. And this is similar to what I do in my accountability club. Every month we have a theme and we work through that theme. So I thought actually that might work very well here as well. So the theme for January is, why is weight loss so hard? And the real reasons why it's hard, not necessarily why we think it's hard, but actually what's really going on. And also then, therefore, obviously what you can do to try and make it a bit easier. So today I'm just going to deal with the very first part of that question, which is, why is weight loss so hard? Why is it really so hard? Now, I've got a few notes that I want to refer to here because I've kind of trying to get a little bit more organised about how I do these things, so I don't go off track and I don't kind of start talking about things that are not so relevant to the question, because I only have 10 minutes and it's already 3 minutes past. So I'm going to try and keep this quite succinct so that you get what you need. It's not going to take you too much time. And then next week, we're going to build on what we talked about today. So what I think is so important to understand is that when we think, well, why is weight loss so hard? We tend to think about ourselves and we tend to think that it's because there's something wrong with us, that we can't stick to a program, we can't lose weight, or there's something wrong with us from a health point of view that makes it impossible for us to lose weight. Like we can't exercise, for example, or we've got polycystic ovaries, or we've got a thyroid problem, or we've got diabetes, or all of these different things that we can basically pin the reason on. And yes, of course, those things do make it more difficult, but there's a lot more going on than that. And those things are not insurmountable. There's plenty of people that I work with all of those conditions who, once we get the formula right for them, they do actually lose weight. So we tend to internalise it and we think we're useless, and we think, we see other people and we think, crikey, well, they're doing really well. Why can't I do it? What's wrong with me? But the truth is, most people find weight loss hard, okay? You've just got to look down, walk down the high street and just see how many other people are perhaps carrying more weight than is comfortable or healthy for them. Yeah, it's not just you, all right? And people do tend to have success, but the statistics tell us that, unfortunately, between 80 and 95% of people who lose weight end up putting it back on within 5 years. So that's not really successful, is it? Not in the long run. So you are not alone. But there is some good news, okay? There is some good news, which is going to be revealed over this month, okay? And I'm one of those good news stories, in that I have kept to a healthy weight for the last 11 years. Well, it's 12 years this year. So it is possible. And I'm speaking from the heart, I'm speaking from experience, and I'm wanting to share with you all the things that I've learned, both from my personal experience and my professional experience, in terms of retraining, leaving my job, retraining, doing the work that I do now, so that I can help you to achieve what I've been able to achieve, which is losing weight in a healthy way and keeping it off in a healthy way. So back to the topic. So 3 key reasons, okay, why it's so hard to lose weight. Okay, so important that we understand the context of this before I go on to talking about anything else, because in order to be able to make progress, we need to really understand what the problem is. And in doing so, I hope that you will see that it's not your fault. Yes, we have to take responsibility, okay, for what we do. There's no getting away from that. But it's not your fault that you got here. And I'm going to explain why in a moment. Okay. So the first reason that weight loss is so hard, why it's really so hard, and this may seem obvious, but I do think it seems to get forgotten. We tend to overlook it. Is that we're actually not designed to lose weight voluntarily. Okay. So when you think about this, you know, we're only supposed to lose fat when when food is not available. You know, we eat more than we need to eat at meal times because, biologically speaking, being able to put on weight in the way that we do, being able to put on fat in the way that we do, is part of our survival mechanism. So we're supposed to eat more than we need at the time so that our bodies store the excess as fat, okay, until the next meal is available. So it's a bit like a savings account. It's putting the savings money away, okay, until we need it. So our bodies actually don't want us to lose the fat. Yeah. It's so important that we understand that. Yeah, that's the first point. So they want to hold on to our fat like a savings account because it's part of our survival mechanisms. The second reason is that we are living in a world that we're not designed for. If you just think about how much food takes up in our lives these days, and if you are to walk down the high street and see just how many food outlets there are, if you are to see how many food adverts there are on the TV, if you see how much food is commercialised, how much all of our social occasions tend to revolve around food. So we're not designed for a world where food is so abundant. So, of course, we're going to be using our survival mechanisms by eating more than we need, storing the fat until the next meal is available. Trouble is, the next meal is available only usually 3 or 4 hours later, or if we're grazing on snacks, it's for there all the time. So we are constantly adding to that savings account. And we need to be not adding to that savings account if we want to be healthy both for now and in the future, and comfortable, and being able to do all the things that we want to do, where we're not carrying all that extra weight. So we really need to think about why do we want to lose the weight? You know, it's not just about how we look, it's how we feel and what we can do, you know, when we really break it down. So I'm already jumping ahead. I tend to do this, but I've got to save that for next week. Anyway, so that's the second reason. Yeah, food is available all the time. We're not designed for a world where food is available all the time. That's just not healthy for us. And then the third reason, and this is where we can really make the difference, is that we set ourselves up to fail because we don't take into account those first two reasons. We go into it with shiny object syndrome. We go into it with quick fix syndrome. We reach a point where we've had enough, we're going to do something about it. So we launch ourselves into something without really appreciating whether what we're doing is actually right for us. Because all it does, when we think, right, okay, I want to lose weight, I want to lose as much weight as possible, as quickly as possible. So as soon as we try to do that, which means cutting, we tend to do the eat less, move or cut our calories right down, do loads of exercise. We end up burning the candle at both ends. We go into conflict immediately with our bodies. Because don't forget, our bodies don't want us to lose weight. So, of course, as soon as we start cutting back, our bodies and our brains will fight back. We may get results in the short term before our bodies and brains have kind of woken up to what's going on. So we might get some really good results in the first few weeks. And then something happens. And we think, if only I could stick to it for longer next time. But the problem is we just keep repeating the same pattern. But that pattern is what sets us up to fail, because it's only so long before we actually something happens that trips us up. So if you imagine that, you know, when our bodies and brains start fighting back, we get extra hungry, we start to get tempted by things, our willpower starts weakening. And this is because our bodies and brains are fighting back because they're not getting what they need, yeah? And this actually changes the way that we think and we feel. So just imagine, when you're looking at a plate of food when you're hungry versus when you're looking at a plate of food when you've just, you've had enough and you no longer want any food, you will see that plate of food completely differently. And it's the same thing that happens when we are, on a diet, we're restricted everything and we look at food, we desire it, we're missing out, we've taken something big away and there's left a big gap. So, of course, in addition to that, of course, if we're in this sort of quick fix mentality, we don't want to cut back for long, we're always going to be thinking, oh, well, it's all right, I don't have to do this very long and I'll be able to go back to what I was doing before. But the problem with that's where the problem lies in the first place. We don't want to go back to what we were doing before. And of course, if we try and change everything at once, which tends to be what we tend to do when we decide to lose weight, if we're already busy and stressed, all that does is add more busyness and more stress to our lives. So it just adds to that conflict. So, of course, as soon as something happens, as soon as a bump in the road happens, it's very easy to just go, oh, that's it. And then, of course, one I don't like to use the word mistake, but one mistake leads to another. And that's then we decide, that's it, I've lost it now. I'm out of the zone. I can't do it anymore. And then we just fall back into those old patterns. And then we start beating ourselves up and we think we're a failure. And we repeat this pattern so many times. So we need to find a way to lose weight and keep it off that takes all of that into account, that actually stops us from going into such conflict with ourselves. That's the solution, okay? I'm not going to leave it there because that's, we're going to work through this the rest of the month. But just to say, that is exactly what I help people to do. That is what my programme is designed to do, is to stop you from going into conflict with yourself, to retrain your mind, give you the knowledge and the tools that you need so that you can manage your weight well for life. So to be continued, next week we're going to explore this a little bit more. But I hope that's helpful. I just want you to think about those things and just perhaps think from your own experience, how much of that can you relate to? And share in the comments. Tell me your story. Tell me what's been going on for you. This is a safe place in this group, okay? So you can share what you need to share, and you will get the support. And obviously, I'll be there to see what you say and yeah, give you a bit of help. So I will see you all next week, and thank you for watching. I'll see you next Monday at 9 o'clock on the 16th of January for episode 30. Take care. Bye bye.